Well, I guess we can get started.
Cool.
Are you ready to get started?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing
Crichton ranked.
Nice.
If I was one of those people that just wanted, I would just use AI for anything, I would have already created Fred Durst saying cranked and ranked. But unfortunately, my conscience won't let me do that.
Well, you know what? Fred Durst is that much of a fucking legend that I reckon if we just asked him really nicely, he'd probably do it.
Hey, Fred Durst. Hi, it's Old Head from Cranked and Ranked, Eddie Sparxx. And we would like you to record yourself just saying the words cranked and ranked in the same fashion that you say the beginning of hot dog. So you would just be saying cranked and ranked, you know.
We are a Limp Bizkit positive podcast, so
yeah, and
we're not mental or anything.
And just feel free to send us anything else you might want to send us, or come on the show anytime you want to. Whoever Fred Durst representatives, or people who might know Fred Durst, send this to him, and we'll see.
Via the Starfish navigation system.
Yep. Anyway, so yeah, hi everyone. It's Cranked and Ranked. That's the show you're watching where we rank band discographies. That's what we rank. And we're back with another band. And this time it's weird because I want to use the term new metal, but I feel like overall that's not really a great fit for this band. Deftones is the band.
Funnily enough, I see them get referred to far more as an alternative metal band.
Alternative metal. They kind of came out of the new metal, the early new metal scene.
Yeah. Really, it's only the first couple releases that would fall under that. They developed they were always the thinking man's new metal band, but
I guess so. Yeah.
You know that they always struck me as, like, even down to the presentation. There always felt like there was a maturity there that maybe wasn't present in some of the other bands around that time. Yeah. As much as we love that stuff.
Oh yeah, a lot of those bands I love, but especially the early those early bands. But when it comes to like alternative metal and new metal, I'm all like trying to think of the last band that we talked about, because I can't really remember who that would be.
Who was it? Was it Korn?
Korn has been a while.
Yeah.
I feel like we did Linkin Park after we did Korn.
Yeah, we did Linkin Park. Yeah.
But now we're doing Deftones, and I have a sort of a, I don't know, complicated relationship with Deftones. I first heard Deftones in like 95, I think. There was an Access television show I used to watch that played music videos that you couldn't really see a lot of other places. That show was called Raw Time in Austin, Texas.
Dude, I've seen video of Raw Time.
Is it of what's her name?
Yeah, yeah.
That's later on Raw Time. She didn't host it when I watched it regularly, but I remember her.
I remember watching it, and I almost felt like the inspiration for the radio DJ from GTA San Andreas on Radio X, Sage. She was always she's who Sage was named after. But anyway, I always, whenever I see that, I just think that's the Radio X girl, even though it's not.
Yeah,
I just have it in my head that, like, that's her now. I always had that kind of image in my head.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I could see that. But yeah, on that television show, I saw the video for 7 Words, and I liked it, and I remember finding a copy of the first album used, and it didn't really do a lot for me. I was just like, this is okay. It didn't. It didn't like make me a fan. It wasn't until a couple years later when I was at somebody's house and they were playing Around the Fur. That was the first time where I was like, "This is that Deftones band? Like, wow, they really like upped their game." So at that point, I became a fan for a little while, and then for a few years, I would say I was a pretty good Deftones fan. But then it kind of I've been going in and out ever since then. For Deftones, is Deftones a GTA band?
No.
Or Guitar Hero?
Let me look it up. Have Deftones had any songs in video games? Let me look it up. Let's have a look. Yes, Deftones have had several songs featured in video games, particularly to the early to mid 2000s. So it's my generation.
Yeah.
Popular titles like True Crime Streets of LA. Oh shit. Dave Mirra, Freestyle BMX, Be Quiet and Drive. Saints Row 2, Hole in the Earth. Oh damn, I've got Saints Row 2. It's been ages since I played that.
All right.
Oh, and there are some downloadable songs available for Guitar Hero 3 and Rock Band as well.
All right.
Which is pretty cool. But
so how did you hear of them then, first time?
Honestly, on the Kerrang and Scuzz TV channels.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Having it on in the background. I mean, very, very often during my early, my preteen and early teen years, I would just the way the living room was set up when I was that age was that I had like my small TV in the back corner of the room with like a kind of office chair, and I would sit facing the back of the room playing video games, but I'd very often have the family TV, the big one, at the other end of the room, playing either Nickelodeon or Kerrang or Scuzz. And, it was either Drake and Josh and iCarly or Kerrang and Scuzz. And very often during that time, it was like a lot of new metal was still very revered. Even as late as the 2010s, early 2010s, I can still remember that being a very relevant genre still. Yeah, on those channels.
Yeah.
Okay. My own summer. Whenever My Own Summer came on, like I never really deep dove past My Own Summer, but whenever that came on, it was like, oh, that's a banger. Turn that up.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that's our beginnings as we normally do on this show. I don't know what's going on. My coffee really needs to kick in. We've got 10 albums to rank because we're ranking the 10 studio albums of original material. We're not going to do like the B-sides or covers albums or anything. So 10 just like with Exodus, their latest album was pretty recent. It was the end of last year that it came out, and so now we've got 10 to rank. So I guess let's get to it because I'm sure there's enough tangents we're going to kind of veer off into throughout this as we normally do. So let's just get started and see where it takes us. So as usual, what you have something to say first?
I'm about to get into that.
All right, cool.
With
Eddie Sparxx, what is your number 10 Deftones album?
Okay, so my number 10 Deftones album was Saturday Night Wrist. And
okay.
There are things I like about Saturday Night Wrist, but I also feel like, I always do a little bit of cursory research before we do any of this. And this album, around the time the band was very fractured, from what I've heard, there was like some inside turmoil going on. I'm not entirely, well, when I say cursory research, I mean just like a flick read. But this one, to me, there's cool stuff about it, but I don't know whether or not it was because I was listening to it in the car. Something about the production on this one was like bass heavy to the point where the guitars felt like drowned out by the bass, and at points it was like I was listening to drums and bass and the guitars were like really far away. And like there's cool things about all of the Deftones albums.
I agree. I agree with that. They're another band that can't say any of these albums are bad at all.
Yeah, yeah. There's some. I mean, there's some cool stuff on it. I mean, anything that includes Serj Tankian on it is, heightened already.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got Hole in the Earth, mine featuring Serj. There's Pink. There's the Pink Cell Phone track. Which is very interesting, and I've got to find out why British people have bad teeth. But yeah, it's a very it does divide opinion from what I've seen, and it's never like high up, but I still found it to have a really cool mood to it, and I think Deftones are really good at evoking an atmosphere.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I think that, before I went into this deep dive, I'd underestimated just how influential Deftones are, to where, modern metal, essentially, there's a lot of bands that are trying to be, let's take Linkin Park and Deftones and metalcore and make it one thing. And that has led to a saturation of a lot of bands who do a lot of Deftones jerking circle jerk. But at the same time, I get why you would, especially if you grew up with these albums that have an aura to them, you know, like I talk about a lot with like the early 90s albums to where they have an aura. I think Deftones are one of those bands that, to me, were kind of immune to the... I think because they focus so much on atmosphere, the modern production on this doesn't bother me the way it does with certain other bands.
No,
I think it fits
they didn't.
Deftones.
No, they avoided some of the issues with modern production. They're not. I really have no big issues with the sound on any of their albums, except for one. There's one that I do have a comment on, but we'll get there.
Yeah, yeah, but like I say, this is a case of like, I mean, Deftones, they're very different to my usual sonic appetite, but at the same time, there's so much about them that I find so interesting that I do feel like this has tripped that thing in my brain to where it's like, no, you do need to listen to this more, because there is something pulling me towards these albums again, which a lot of bands of this era struggle to do with me. But I honestly think it is just that idea that you want an album to have an aura and a vibe around it. And I think these guys nail it. And even though this is my bottom pick, I can see myself listening to this again. Yeah. I could see myself listening to all of them. But I think at this point in the discography, this is kind of the end of an era, because with Diamond Eyes, they get a little bit more, not genty, but the guitars have a bit of a revamp to where, instead of like, it being, that sort of stuff, it turns into kind of grooves. And I think this was the point where the initial run of Deftones had taken it really as far as like that could go, I guess. I mean, I don't know. And then
and that's the last album that has Chi on bass before he went in. Well, he passed away, but initially
he was in a car accident, didn't he?
Yeah, he was in a car accident. He went into a coma for a while.
Coma for 5 years.
Yeah, it was long.
Rest in peace, man. Jesus,
and they it got to the point where they reunited as a band and put out another record, and he was still in the coma. So, but I mean, we'll get to that later. But
they put 2 out while he was in the coma.
Yeah, but you are right though, because you were talking about like them being influential to a lot of bands, and I've thought about that a lot. But as listening to their whole discography, I can say that like I can hear their influence on a lot of bands. But
yeah, I hear a lot of like Patton and Faith No More influence in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but the influence that they have on other bands, like no band sounds like Deftones. Like you might hear elements of Deftones in other bands' music.
Yeah. But
the combination of stuff that they found their way into, I'm like, it's unmistakable. Like, and that's a huge compliment for any band. If you hear the band and you go, oh well, it's unmistakably them, because nobody else can do it the right way.
Yeah. And I think something that we need to highlight right out of the gate as well is that I think something that makes Deftones so appealing is because they, much like, the likes of, Faith No More or bands that you can hear influences in Deftones, I think that there is that push and pull of like soft and then heavy.
Yeah.
Like you're just as likely to get the most crushing, angry, heavy thing and have it followed up by just this like melodic wave of just softness wash over you.
Yeah.
And I think that they just have this way of crafting songs that are as chaotic as they are beautiful. And I mean, I never thought that I would be throwing this much praise at Deftones on the bottom album of this list. I genuinely didn't expect to be this enamored by it as I am. Like, I'm speaking genuinely from the heart here. So it's actually really refreshing for me to hear music from a much more modern era that makes me feel things that I reach for older stuff for, and yet here they are making these albums, making me think, oh, damn, okay, I just need to listen to more bands like Deftones. Yeah,
but there really aren't more bands like Deftones.
But ones that are unique, not just trying to be diet Deftones.
I agree.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, my number 10 is the most recent album, Private Music, that just came out in 2025. Their 10th album. This was already one that the album was announced, the lead single was released, and I was just like, okay, this is literally more of the same that they've already been doing, so there's nothing exciting for me there. Now, they're still doing it. They're doing what they know how to do well, and that nobody else does as good as them. But unfortunately, you're running into a fan like me that if you reach a point in your discography, which they have now, they've officially gotten to the point now where there's not going to be any more surprises. At least I don't think. It doesn't feel like there's going to be any more surprises or big leaps in progression or anything that takes you off guard. I feel, especially after the last few albums, that they have very much settled into this is what we do, and this is what the fans like, which is, it's fine, because like I said, if there's no other band that sounds like them, then what's wrong with you getting another album of that, especially if you're a really big fan. For me, though, I'm like, well, I already have, there's the handful of albums from them that I love, and the other ones are just them doing what they do. And at this point, when I listen to some of their more recent stuff, it sounds like they get so hung up on using the same kind of ideas and just kind of reshaping them and reusing them in multiple different ways in different songs that some of it gets a little bit like, well, I mean, not just riff blur, like song blur, where it's just like, was this one off of another album? This part sounds like it's off of this other album. But that being said, like, it's all done really well. It still has some moments that I really liked. The vibe is totally there. But it's just really nothing new. And when you're ranking a band's discography, if it's like, it's good, but it's nothing new, like, where's it going to go? And for me, it goes at the bottom, because they've done this for a few albums where it hasn't been different enough or unique enough. And being a person that got into them, in the late 90s, I got to hear them 3 times in a row do something where I go, wasn't expecting this. And so I guess I got spoiled by them, I guess. But I would be more interested if they put out something that sounded totally different. Or at least half the songs sound totally different, but it's just not enough. It's not enough of a variety. It's not enough of a progression. It's a good album, but it's not doing anything new for me. So Private Music is my number 10. Bringing us to number 9.
bringing us to number 9. My number 9 is Gore. Now,
Okay.
I kind of almost feel like I have kind of a cliche opinion with having Saturday Night Wrist and Gore at the bottom, because I have seen that those are common placements for this, and I never want to seem like I'm copying anyone's ranking for any reason, but I did find it really hard to rank some of these, because I thought, wow, that was good, but it didn't surprise me quite like some other ones did. But I mean, for me, I remember hearing this album when it came out, and it was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Doomed User, I remember, was the song, like that one. But honestly, there's cool experimental things about this one. But I don't know. Ranking these was particularly hard.
Yeah.
And things had to go places. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, I feel like, the latter half, I feel like they set such a high experimentation bar early on, that when that petered off a bit, it was like, okay, this is Deftones doing a good job at being Deftones. There are some new things on here, but I don't know, I guess I just at this point in listening to this, I mean, like I said, Deftones, they have a way of like giving an album an aura, but at the same time, I also feel a sense of, I run into it sometimes with the riff blur thing, to where I do get the odd song here or there mixed up, especially later on in their career. Needless to say, this would be any other band's, best version of, this. So I think it's cool. I think there was creative tension between like some of the members at the time as well. That there are some things they're trying here, but at the same time,
I think the creative tension is always, from what I've read, it's between Chino and Steven, the guitar player. Mm-hmm. Or is his name actually Steven or Stefan?
Stefan, Steven. Yeah, I mean, I would have said Steven.
I'm still scarred for life over me being. This is a totally unrelated band, but me being a Descendants fan since I was in high school. So that would have been at least 30 years. 30 years of me being a Descendants fan, calling the guitar player Stephen Egerton, only to see their documentary and they go, Stefan, and I'm like, his name is fucking Stefan? It's spelled Stephen. So now every time I see Stephen with a PH, I'm all like, you're not going to get me this time. Which one is it? Is it Stefan or Stephen?
Actually, it looks like it's Stefan.
See?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, that's how they get you, man.
Stefan.
Fucking Steffens.
Anyway, I can't tell you the first time this was a couple years back when the Descendants and All documentary came out, and as soon as I heard somebody say Stefan, I went, "What?" It's like your entire life. My entire life is like, because like before that, I'd never heard anybody say his name. I just read his name.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, to be honest, I mean, all that time you didn't have necessarily the advent of quick information like you do now.
Nope. You
say something into your phone and it just tells you immediately.
Yep. That's why I still don't fault old people for saying Neil Peart, because I'm just like, you're old school, you didn't know, but you learn. It's Peart and not Pert, but still. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were on Gore. Are you done with Gore?
Yeah. I mean, there's cool experimental things, but like it also didn't stand out to me as different enough, and also like the production on this one, I don't know, it just felt a little. This to me felt a little bit more cliche modern metal than it did the Deftones sound. I guess I don't know. Maybe I listened to some of these albums on like different things. Yeah. So maybe those things, either headphones, AirPods, the car, wherever possible, wherever I can fit it in. Yeah. It may sway my opinion a little bit. But I'm a busy man. I can't afford to be listening on these cans.
Honestly,
all the time.
I think that's a very realistic way to approach these rankings, because in your life, when you discover a band, you're not always listening to them on the best sounding thing that you have. And if a band can't, honestly, like if I'm holding my phone and listening to the phone speaker, if your band can't catch my attention on the phone speaker, then you're probably not going to catch my attention on like my good stereo system.
Yeah.
Because then it doesn't matter how sonically good your recording is. It's like what's there for me to listen to. Yeah. So anyway,
is the song good?
Yeah, is the song good? This is going to be the quickest one I've probably ever done, because I only wrote one note and I don't really have any. I'll elaborate a little bit. My number 9 is Koi no Yokan, whatever that translates to something. The only note I wrote was another Deftonesy Deftones album, because when this came out, I was a very big fan of Diamond Eyes. And then this one came out, and I just remember I was excited to get it. I got it, and I was trying to get myself into the album, and then I realized after like third or fourth listen, I was like, I think the problem is that this is literally nothing new. And I was like, and I'm expecting new things. I'm expecting something to stand out and to surprise me. And that album was like, once again, because they had done it before in their career where they'd put out an album and I went, this is just not different enough. Not bad. There's standout tracks on that album, but it really was me kind of going, oh, all right, well, I've kind of lost my interest, because you put out an album and I'm really into it, and then if you put out the next one and it's relatively similar, but the songs don't stand out as much to me, then I'm just going to be like, all right, cool. Yeah. So I like things about Koi no Yokan, but Koi yo no can be in the top of the ranking because it's in the bottom of the ranking. So yeah, that one's my number 9.
Okay, I'm pleased to say that is my number 8. So I liked things about this album, but I think I like the vibe more than the songs. And when I'm looking for an album, I'm looking for songs. Yeah. I think it starts off strong with Swerve City. Yeah. But again, like I say, I like the sound of this album, and I like the layers of it. And apparently they started using... I think I looked into there it is. Was a major change in recording process came with the use of fractal Axe-Effects preamp processor, which creates the sound of multiple outboard amps and pedals and allows for different tones. Now I could definitely sense,
and that means fuck all to me.
Yeah, I could definitely sense like a lot of layering on the album. I definitely got the vibe that they'd meticulously layered this, and I liked that about it. But songs compared to Diamond Eyes were not drawing me in as much. But I kind of think I don't know. I think my lower Deftones picks are ones where I like the vibe, but I don't think the songs are as good as the ones that I've put above it. Yeah. So I guess I would say here's the rockers, here's the vibers, and I could easily put any one of these albums on and enjoy it. But if we're talking about sheer hierarchy here, I'm going for songs. Yeah.
Also, it's funny, if for some reason it clicked something in my brain when you said the title of the song Swerve City. After a certain point, I would say, probably starting with Diamond Eyes, even though I really like that album, you might even go Saturday Night Wrist. It almost seems like I'm assuming that it's Chino that comes up with everything, but there's it almost seems like there's a Deftones song name generator. Yeah. And it's like Are you going to name this after an old Atari game? Are you going to take some sort of computer term and then take the vowels out of the words? Or are you going to, I mean, it's like, what combination of scary and sexy are you going to put together for this particular song? And it gets to the point where I almost feel like, does he like come up with the song titles and go, that'd be cool on the back of the album. And let me see if I can write a song to fit into that.
Yeah. You can like look at a fucking, what is it called, like Centipede cabinet from the arcade back in the day. Just call it Centipede.
Yeah,
and it would work as.
Well, I mean, there are so many song titles that I go. And at first, I didn't think that until several albums had passed, and I went, "Is he just taking names of Atari games?" Because there's a whole bunch of like.
Well, I was just going to say, I remember there being quite a few of them on Diamond Eyes where I would just be like Command Control, Beauty School, Rocket Skates,
and fucking is it on Saturday Night Wrist? There's a song called Up Up Down Down Left Right Left Right.
Yeah, it's
BA Select Start.
Yeah.
Now the one thing I like about that song title is that he included select in that.
Yes,
and that means you're playing with two players. So
yeah,
because otherwise you skip the select part. You just start it.
Nice.
So I always looked at that and go, see what you did there, Chino. You're playing with somebody.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They be fucking. Oh, man.
Anyway, we were on. You're on. Oh, are you doing Koyo no Ken right now?
I was, but I pretty much said everything now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. My number 8 is Ohms from 2020.
Okay.
One thing I can say for this album is I love the production of it. I think it sounds really good.
Yeah, me too.
Still more of the same Deftones, but done really well. And I feel like when I'm comparing it to my bottom 2, it has more standout moments. And it does. There is a little bit where I do hear some things here and there where I go, I feel like there's some fresh ideas in here while sort of maintaining the sound that everyone has come to expect it from them. The downfall of this album for me is like with a lot of theirs, once I get into the second half, it's very easy for me to just forget that I'm listening to it. And that's a problem with albums because your album should. I mean, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's like if I'm doing something else, it doesn't matter. Your album should several times throughout the album catch me and go, "Oh, what was that?" Or "What was that riff?" Or "What was that drum part?" Or "What is this? This song sounds totally different. What is this?" But like their albums, it gets to the point where I'm like, "Well, this is more of the Deftones stuff," which is not offensive to my ears at all. It's fine. But it just kind of goes, all right, well, it's now faded into the background, and then it's never a bad sound to have back there, but it's just not enough. But overall, like Ohms is not a bad album at all, and I definitely am all. I don't know if this is the one where they worked with Terry Date again for the production.
Oh yeah, Terry Date's the producer.
But I'm like, man, it sounds great.
He's had a hell of a career. Holy shit.
Terry Date? Oh fuck yeah, he has. He's worked with a lot of legendary and amazing bands.
Just reading through his albums right now. Holy fuck.
Yeah, I mean, just off the back. I mean, like, what am I like? Why on first? I think of Pantera first, obviously.
Yeah. Dude, here's one hell of a run. Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. Screaming Trees, Under Anesthesia, Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power, 24/7 Spies, Strength in Numbers.
Nice.
Fuck,
Yeah.
Oh look, Pantera, Far Beyond Driven, and right behind that is Adrenaline by Deftones.
Yep.
Has he done how many Deftones ones has he done? Has he done
3 or
most
4
of them?
No, 3. I think
he did the first 3. I know that.
I don't think he did the self-titled Deftones album.
He did.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm wrong. But anyway, he's a great producer, and he can bring good shit out of a band, and he did for Deftones. So that's my number 8, Ohms.
Cool. So my number 7 is the most recent album, Private Music.
Okay.
And
Private Music.
At ease, soldier.
That was a How I Met Your Mother reference. I've never done a How I Met Your Mother reference on here. Now everyone knows my secret that I love that show.
I need to catch up on that. I remember I watched the first season like years ago, and I need to. That's the problem with me. I'll do like one season of a show, and then it'll take me like 7 years, and then I will watch the rest of the show in like a month.
That show is just a comfort show for me that somehow clicked with me. It's not a show that I would recommend to anybody. It would just be like, hey, do you just want to like turn your brain off and just feel kind of okay and just distracted for 30 minutes for an episode?
Yeah. There's something to be said. Sorry.
No, let's go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say that there's something to be said for those kinds of shows that you can just you don't have to be giving it all your attention, because that can get exhausting. If you watch nothing but drama all the time, that's like you can't look away from the screen, or you miss like 17 plot points.
Yeah, my wife has got me watching the show called The Pit, which is a hospital drama. That
I think I've heard of that.
So here's the thing. It's like, first, the seasons are 15 episodes, and it's all real time. So each episode is an hour of a 15-hour shift in this ER emergency room.
Wow.
And it is fucking like the very first episode. I told her I didn't want to watch it because I'm usually not big on hospital stuff, because I get my anxiety gets crazy.
You get freaked out.
She had me watch the first episode, and she told me, she goes, "You looked so uncomfortable the whole time." And I'm like, I can't watch more than one of those in a day, but that was really good.
Dude, I'm looking at the oh shit, this is so cool. So it's like each episode is an hour of the day. And
not only that, the way I read in a little bit to how they write the episodes, they literally have the whole emergency room unit in the hospital mapped out in the writer's room, and they basically write the episodes being like, well, this doctor can't be here for this scene because they're supposed to be over here. Like, they really think about the real-time aspect of the writing. And it's got, I mean, you see shit being done. Some of it I'm all like, that looks so real. Is that did they get real people to do that? I'm sure they probably didn't. But the whole atmosphere of the show is just like, it's a really good like reality vibe check, because the episode will end and you can look around your house and go, whoo, everything's cool here.
So what's this? The people that made it previously worked on the ER.
Yeah.
My mum growing up was a huge ER fan. She's got like every season box set.
Oh, nice. The main guy, Noah Wiley, he was in ER. So anyway, sorry, it's a TV show talk there, but that's like the complete polar opposite of how I feel watching How I Met Your Mother. That's literally just like, it's on and I'm like, cool. This is fine, and I could easily just doze off and wake up again and be like, that was a cool joke. Wow. I'm gonna go back to sleep. It's like how people are with like The Office and shows like that, where they watch it to go to sleep or whatever. I could totally do that.
I can't remember the last time I went to sleep without watching something. I usually have something on like a sleep timer.
My wife listens to audiobooks, and I can barely hear them sometimes, but that's just enough for me to be like, okay, cool, that's fine.
I can't go to sleep in complete silence anymore. I can't do it.
Oh, I used to have a white noise maker.
Yeah.
But then we recently, like a year ago, we got a air purifier in the room that's loud as fuck, and I love it so much. Because it purifies the air, it helps me with my breathing, but at the same time, it's like the whole night. I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, see, for me, it's got to have it. I have to have like some low level talking, so it feels like someone else is there. Because if I close my eyes in a dark room and try and go to sleep, I immediately think to myself, someone somewhere wants to kill me. And it's, I have this immediate thing. I have this immediate thing of like either my house is going to burn down and I'm going to die a horrible, painful death, or someone is going to sneak in and kill me. Whereas if I have like a Joshimus speed run of GTA San Andreas, like on like the tiniest little bit of volume on my phone while it's charging overnight.
Yeah.
That little bit of something happening other than me just laying there waiting for an attacker. Like, and I know it's ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous.
It makes sense. I used to need talking to get to sleep, and now I realize it really is just like a white noise kind of thing. If I at least have that, then I'm able to calm down. That's just us. That's just us being autistic.
Yeah. Well,
it's part of it.
I definitely, I don't know what it is, man. It might even be like a fucking trauma response. I don't know. Maybe someone tried to set me on fire when I was a kid, and I just didn't know about it. Maybe I blocked it out.
Wow. Yeah. I would definitely try to block that out. Somebody tried to set me on fire.
Yeah. Jesus.
Anyway, what were we doing?
Don't set me on fire.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about private music. I totally interrupted with my How I Met Your Mother reference.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So, right out of the gate, I mean, coming off of the heels of the Terry Date produced Ohms, I mean, the production on that album, as far as modern metal goes, is fucking great. This one, you know, while it's a different producer, I still think that, I don't know what it is. I feel like they hit a little bit, they hit a run of albums with following Diamond Eyes that to me felt like, I mean, I know Gore's interesting because in a way there are some like experimental things about it, but at the same time when I was listening to it, I thought, why is it, for some reason it just wasn't clicking with me at the time. Maybe it'll be a grower for me.
Yeah.
But the last two albums in particular, I was just like, oh, this is what I'm talking about. So yeah, honestly, private music, I get where you're coming from, where it is Deftones doing Deftones, but at the same time, I feel like it's Deftones doing Deftones, and they know it. You know, there's kind of we're good at this. Yeah. We're the best band at doing this. Yeah. So we're gonna do that.
I'll give them that. They are the best band that's doing this. Yeah.
So that for me stood out. I also think, I mean, I don't usually make this an overarching thing, but I really like the album cover. I think the album cover is fucking sick. Like the corn snake, the white corn snake with the green background.
Yeah,
it's an interesting cover compared to a lot of other metal bands of this type.
Yeah, the weird thing about this album cover for me is that it's color palette wise very pleasing to me.
Yeah,
but I can't divorce myself from the fact that they just took a picture of a snake on green floor or whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm just I like it, but it's not that interesting. It's nice to look at.
I will take it over a cloudy, abstract gray shape.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
That do these days and have done for a little too long.
Yeah.
I feel like Trivium brought out In Waves, and that was it for metal album covers. Like, it's just, well, that's it. Everything's gunmetal gray and a shape.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not. I even last night I was just going through records to see what I wanted to listen to, and at one point I was like, I might listen to Empire by Queensryche, and I take out the album, and I rarely look at that album cover and I go, what a lazy, boring album cover Queensryche Empire is. What even is this fucking shape? And for an album that's that fucking good, it is a really underwhelming album cover.
It is strange, isn't it? It's like this.
It's like a pixelated spaceship.
Yeah, it's a pixelate. Oh god, what's the Queensryche symbol? The Tri-Reich or something?
Oh, is that what it's supposed to be? It's just the way that it's laid out. And when I think of that album and I look at that album cover, I go, they dropped the fucking ball on that, big time.
You know what's funny? If you remove the Tri-Reich and the Queensryche name, and you just put a photo of Eminem where the black part is, that would be an Eminem album cover. Empire.
Little did you know his next album coming out is going to be Empire, where he samples Queensryche songs. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, I agree with you. There's also a couple Deftones album covers that are like that, where I just go, this is not very interesting. But it is what it is. They're going for they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyway, are you done with private music?
Yeah.
All right. My number 7 is Gore from 2016. This was an interesting listen for me this time, because this was the album, because I told you that, like, you know, they won me back with Diamond Eyes because I really liked it. Then the Koyo no Can, whatever it is called.
Koi no Yokan.
That one. I was kind of underwhelmed by it, but I didn't hate it. When Gore came out, the singles that they released, I just went, I'm not buying this. I don't care. And I remember I listened to the album and I went, I don't care. I'm not into this. Flash forward to 2026, 10 years later, and I'm doing this ranking. I start playing the album and I'm just like, what was I thinking? Like, this is really good. Like, it's got enough going for it that makes it way better than my first impression. Now, in 2016, my life wasn't great. Wasn't going great. So, that being said, I could see why an album like that would come out and I'd be like, fuck off. I'm not interested in this right now. So, I think it was a timing thing, because there's some really great songs in this album. Much like some of their albums, it does lose a little bit of steam for me on the second half, but it is way stronger than I thought. And the overall vibe of the album, I'm just like, it may not have like a ton of standout songs, but I was like, I really like the vibe of this album. I really like the album cover, because it looks almost like the title card for like a French abstract love story movie.
Yeah.
You know, like you would see the birds
like
flying.
Yeah. It's almost like a really tasteful perfume ad.
Or that too. Either way, like, once again, color palette it works for me, but also it looks different from any other album cover they've done, and I appreciate that. But yeah, this one rose up a few spots for me just because I was like, I was really harsh on this album. So that, like, you know, let that be a lesson to everybody out there. If there's a band that you like and they put out something and you go, I'm not feeling this, just give it some time, give it a break, come back to it later. It may do absolutely nothing for you then too, but you never know. So now I'm just like, wow, I don't know what I was thinking, but this is a way better album than I gave it credit for. That being said, you know, I like all of the ones. You know, there's 6 above this one, but I was surprised. And I was just like, well, good on these guys, because this is it doesn't feel like the same old while still feeling like very much like a Deftones album. So that was impressive to me. So Gore was my number 7.
Cool.
Bringing us to number 6. And I think for the most part, we've got the same 6 minus 1.
Okay.
There's only one that will be different for us in this top 6. So let's see what happens.
Okay, cool. So this one, I'm probably going to keep this one brief because we've kind of already talked about it. But,
okay.
My number 6 is Ohms. Terry Date.
Yeah.
Pretty much, like, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And they, you know, it's like 20 years after they'd last collaborated.
Yeah.
And they got right back to it, kicking ass. Sounds fantastic. The song's hit is great.
Do you want to know? You know, I'm sorry to derail you again.
Go for it. It's all about the conversation.
So we're talking about Terry Date and about, like, you know, Terry Date makes these albums that sound really good, and then he comes back and does an album with a band he worked with before, and it sounds really great. I've noticed that the opposite thing has occurred with Ross Robinson. He made some fantastic sounding albums. And now whenever his name shows up on something, I'm always like, this isn't great. what happened? Because there's several albums that he's done that don't sound bad, but there is a Ross Robinson, early 2000s run.
Oh yeah,
that
he did the first Korn album, right? Yeah,
he did. Well, so but then you get he did a lot of really great sounding albums from bands that are well known to bands that aren't known that well. I mean, he did the major. Well, I guess it wasn't technically a major label, but he did the last album. Well, no, it wasn't their last album. Sorry, he did an album by At the Drive-In, which is a band I really like. He did an album by the Blood Brothers, another band I really like. So these are smaller bands, but he would take these bands, and at that point, when a band said, "Hey, we're doing our album with Ross Robinson," we were all like, "Oh fuck, that shit's gonna explode out of the fucking speakers." But then, I think I remember it happening where it was like 2014, 2015, there was a Cancer Bats album that came out. And at that point, I was really into Cancer Bats. And they did, we're working with Ross Robinson. And I went, fuck yeah. And then I heard the album and I was like,
Searching for Zero?
What? It may have been Searching for Zero. And then soon after that, there was a Sepultura album that Ross Robinson worked on. And I love that album. But sonically, I'm like, it's just not there anymore. What happened? He went from being somebody that really stood out as a producer to somebody that's just sort of middle of the road, and it doesn't really add anything interesting to the music anymore. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. If any of you out there are know what I'm talking about, and maybe have a more recent example of him nailing it again, because you never know what combination of factors enter into certain albums sounding really great and then others sounding just so. But yeah, if you look up Ross Robinson from the late 90s through the early 2000s, just I feel like almost every album his name was on just sounded so fucking good to me. Anyway.
Damn, dude. They did the first two Slipknot albums.
That first Slipknot album, literally put that motherfucker on. Sounds incredible.
Yeah.
And he really made that band fucking pop.
Yeah.
Just the beginning, the beginning of the album. Just listening to the first couple songs kick in, you're just like, that is fucking album production right there. And I'm not even a Slipknot fan, but I will still put that fucking record on and be like, shit, dude.
They were fucking cooking on that first album.
As long as Corey Taylor isn't singing "Stop, Drop, and Roll" and shit and shitty lyrics, then I'm so good with the band.
Bury your ass with the chrome straight to the dome.
Shut the fuck up! Every time I hear that line, I'm all like, he wrote that down and was like, "Yep, this is what I'm gonna." Look, seriously, if you're rapping, oh god. Don't ever say straight to the dome ever again.
Yeah.
Just leave that to real rappers from the 90s.
Chrome to the dome has been relegated to the scrap heap, my guy.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, talking about a different man. We're talking about Deftones, which
yes.
I could talk about. That's a good segue, because I would like to make a statement, and this is this is a statement of opinion. But maybe other people feel the same way.
Opinion.
Oh, I love that song. Chino Moreno, vocalist of Deftones, songwriter of Deftones,
and Italian mob boss.
Occasional guitar player also of Deftones. Chino can, on the same album, be the band's greatest strength and their greatest weakness on the same album. He has a way of doing something in a song where I go, fuck yeah. And then another song I'll be like, oh God, this is the cringiest fucking thing. And I'm not just talking vocally, I'm talking about lyrically. He really straddles this line where he goes one way or another. And I go, oh, that's where we're going with this one? Okay. And it's so weird because he can literally steer a song. I guess that's how powerful of a front man he is. His choice of vocals and words can steer a song in an area where I just go, sorry, bro. Or I'll just be like, oh God, I love how he did that. So amazing. So it's just, it's so weird to me to because everyone else in the band does their fucking thing and I never have any gripes about it. What is the drummer? Is it Abe Cunningham? Is that his name? Fantastic drummer. That dude behind the kit sounds fucking great always. And then, of course, Chi. And then after Chi, Sergio, who was from Quicksand, who's back in Quicksand. Anyway, everyone's great. But Chino is the one guy that I'm just like, what's he going to give us this time? Am I going to cringe or am I going to hell yeah? Like, what are you going to get? Anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting. He does have a very unique vocal style.
Yes.
And he can do like the very visceral, Patton-esque frantic screaming.
Yep.
But he also has this way of like sex moaning his way through a song, and sometimes it can sound beautiful, and sometimes if it's placed at the wrong point, it's just like, okay, I don't know what we were thinking putting a here, but like
yeah, it's just fascinating to me because he like, I like him overall, but yeah, he does have his moments where I'm like, yeah, we could have done something like way better here. I would say that a big example of that is the song "Mine" with Serj Tankian. The chorus of that song is so fucking boring. The music underneath it is so good, but the vocal he lays down over it, I'm like, way to fucking underwhelm us with a fucking chorus on this song, dude. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. What are we on now? You're talking about. I'm sorry. Hold on, I'm going to interrupt you again. I'm just kidding.
Perfectly placed. Perfectly placed. Nearly shout out. Where are we at?
You were on Ohms.
Ohms.
Still, I think.
Oh my God.
Okay!
It's damn good, but it's ultimately landed in the lower half. Only slightly though, because we got some mofos of albums coming up.
We do.
And,
we do.
I'm gonna hand things back over to you, my friend.
Thank you. My number 6 is the self-titled Deftones album from 2003.
That's my number 5. Let's camp out here for a little bit.
Sweet. So this one was another one that it was a disappointment to me when it came out, because before this album came out, I was very much a Deftones fan. And then when this album came out, I was underwhelmed. In hindsight, it's a strong album that has a little bit of progression for the band. It takes them in a little bit of a different direction, but not too much. But there's a lot on the album that still feels like backpedaling and a little bit of lack of inspiration. I kind of hear it on the album. Not everything. There are some amazing songs. Minerva is an amazing song. Since the first time I heard it, I loved it. I love the atmosphere of that song. I think that's them doing the sort of moody, almost shoegazer type shit really well. And apparently this album cost $2.5 million to make.
Yeah, it says here it's one of the most expensive rock albums of all time.
I want to know where the money went. Where did the money go? Chino, where did the money go? Because did it just take a really long time and that's what ate up all the money? Or
just lube for the sex everybody was having. Deftones being the horny metal band.
It's literally like, this album cost us $500,000 to make. The rest of it was lube for our sex parties. and ecstasy. But the songwriting wise overall, it's a pretty big step down from what they were doing before. And it doesn't have a whole lot to bring me back to listen to it over and over again. But it does. It's had enough time now to where I hear certain songs from it and I go, yeah, it's pretty good. My expectations were just very high for them. And that's my bad, I guess. I don't know. But it's their fault. They fucking set my expectations that fucking high, and then they put out something that is just kind of, it's got its good points, but it's way better than that. And I enjoy a lot of it, but some of it is just it's not amazing. And especially now, like just throwing this album on randomly out of the blue, I'd be like, this is a fantastic album. Once again, I'm putting it right back in the context of the Deftones discography, and I go, yeah, it's good, but comparatively speaking, it's a number 6 kind of album for me. So that's my number 6. Your number 5, Deftones.
Before we carry on, I was inspired to check out what was going on in the world just then, because I saw it was May 20th, 2003. And I thought I would have just about been 5 years old when this came out, and I wanted to find out just very briefly what I would have been probably doing on that day. And I actually came
watching
across something
SpongeBob.
Actually, it would have probably been Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry at this point. I really took to the old ones, but SpongeBob was around. I got when I was 6 or 7 years old. That's when I started watching. What was it? Crazy thing I was going to say. This album came out the day the station nightclub fire happened.
No way, really?
Yeah, this album came out the day that happened.
And what I can tell you what I was doing.
Oh wait, hold on. No, I was fed a bunch of bullshit. I typed in May 20th, 2003, and the Google's AI is fucking sucks, right? It says, I see. It got confused. It said services, non-denominational services began to be held at the fire site for several months as of May 20th, 2003.
Okay.
It was that February, though. Forgive me. I just wasted everybody's time.
Anyway, if you don't know the station nightclub fire, just Google it. But I know where I was the night that happened because I was watching it unfold on CNN or one of those news channels because I happened to be at home that night, and I was just like, holy fuck. Because that was around the time that I was going to little shows in little dive bars and places. And I'm just like, wow, it just takes a matter of seconds. And if I'm one of those people that's like, I'm going to go up to the front and give the band my support, you're dying. It's like, so it was a big wake up call. Anyway,
the craziest thing about that for me is the fact that the entire thing was filmed.
Yes,
you've got a first person perspective of shit hitting the fucking.
Yeah, you can literally watch the fire spreading on the ceiling, in the video.
It takes a frighteningly short time to spread. The pyro goes off, the foam ignites, the roof goes up.
Yep.
No wonder so many people tragically perished in that shit.
Yeah, that's the thing that had more of effect on me than 9/11 did. Just because it hit so much closer to home because it wasn't in my city that I lived in. It felt more personal because it was these people going to see a rock band in a little club, and that's shit that I did. I didn't work in a high-rise office building, so it didn't. As tragic as that was, it didn't have the same effect on me. But
dude, I just before we got off of this, because I might have brought this up on the show before, but if anybody's listening and hasn't heard before, I went to a gig. I went to go see Anthrax and Slayer at Plymouth Pavilion. 3 days after the Bataclan Eagles of Death Metal attack happened.
Yeah,
and I can remember walking into the venue, and everybody had this kind of squirrely vibe.
Yes,
where it was like everyone was there, but everybody was kind of looking over their shoulder, and they had a big. They'd projected the colors of the French flag onto the curtain when we walked in.
Nice,
and it was like, fuck, man,
yeah.
Oh God, it doesn't bear thinking about. But I can
Hey,
remember just like,
this is the kind of episode for it because Deftones is a very moody
yeah,
band.
yeah. It's it's fucked. It's messed up. But I can remember just the entire time, like, trying to enjoy myself and thinking, no way, it's fucking Anthrax and Slayer. I really hope no one guns me down.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a weird night. Anyway, we are doing
Self-titled Deftones album.
Cool. My turn?
Yes.
Cool. This one to me felt like the first time that the jumps began to become quite a lot more gradual.
Yeah.
Adrenaline to Around the Fur
yeah.
to White Pony are massive steps because
Yeah.
you start out with like a, I don't necessarily want to say grungy, but like stripped back new metal, alternative metal, proto new metal thing on the first. It wasn't out of place with the likes of Helmet.
Yeah.
You get to album number 2, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, it's fucking new metal album, and then you get to number 3, and it's like, well, this is a much more intelligent sounding version of what's going on.
Yeah.
It has a lot more sensitivity and emotional maturity to it. But at the same time, it also fucking rips in places. So this album, for me, is the first in the discography where there's not a massive jump.
Yeah.
But they're still very good at what they do. I mean, Hexagram, Minerva, there's great songs on it. But I definitely think this is the first time they don't take a step back, but the steps lessen in size. And ultimately, that's why this one ended up at the midpoint, to where it's like, it's got all the hallmarks of good Deftones,
Yeah.
but it's not the most original or surprising or interesting in the catalog at this stage. So that's my take on the 4th studio album by Deftones.
Nice. So we're going to have the same top 4 because my number 5 is Saturday Night Wrist from 2006. Everybody probably could have predicted that we'd have the same. Well, maybe not the entire top 4, but yeah. Anyway, Saturday Night Wrist, last one with Chi. While it's not a huge step up from the self-titled Deftones album, I put this one higher because there's more individual songs that I go, I really like that one. Cherry Waves being one of them. Cherry Waves is one of my favorite Deftones songs, period. The whole album isn't that great, but it's got moments that are up there. There's a few where I can kind of hear some cool ideas that they have that don't quite pay off. And usually it's in the songwriting or the song structure, or they do have some songs where the song will start out with a particular sound that I go, ooh, where's this going to go? And then it just ends up kind of going in a way where I go, all right, that wasn't very interesting. But I can hear them being like, all right, we're trying something different here. But it just kind of ends up kind of just floating in the same river as all the other Deftones stuff. But overall, Saturday Night Wrist is one that's grown on me over the years, and has, like I said, it has standout tracks for me, and also not a huge fan of the artwork. I'm trying to pull up the artwork so I can talk about it more. I know I've started talking about artwork now, but I guess it's not going to let me pull it up. There it is. When I saw this album art, I was very sort of like, okay, because I'm like, they already did like scantily clad girl on cover, and this one is so the weathering or wearing of it, like it's a record. For some reason it just seemed too like, this is too easy. This was like not a whole lot of thought went into this album cover. And I'm not a huge fan of it. Anyway,
let's just put a girl enjoying it on the front cover, and
Yeah.
away we go.
Yeah, but I feel like with me, it's really hard to impress me with album covers. There are even some album covers that I think are fine, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But it's pretty rare that there's an album cover that I go, this is awesome. So they're out there, but anyways, Siren at Wrist is good. It's not great. For me, there's like a pretty big jump from this one to the top 4 that I'll be talking about. But let's see if we match up at all in this top 4 of the Deftones catalog. That one, yeah.
Cool. So my number 4 Deftones album is Diamond Eyes.
Okay, no, not matching up yet.
Okay. I right out of the gate, I think the owl on it is cute as fuck. I love owls. I love barn owls. I think they're really cute.
Owls are interesting animals.
Yeah, very very interesting. You see how long their legs actually are? It's kind of fucked up. Mm-hmm. Anyway, about the
It's almost
album,
like they just have long owl beards that cover up their legs.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, it's like me too. Like, right, my legs go all the way up to like about here on my body. You can't see it.
Yeah, he actually has a freakishly small torso. It's
it's
really
very
disturbing. But everybody's body type is beautiful in its own way, even if your legs are your entire body. So where was I? Diamond Eyes. Mm-hmm. Kick-ass album. This is, especially as far as 2010. The modern metal sound is firmly in place at this point, but Deftones still find a way to make it interesting. Have an atmosphere and an aura around it. I mean, the title track, Rocket Skates, Sex Tape, You've Seen the Butcher, and those are the singles alone, let alone the rest of the album just being awesome. I can remember when this came out because I just started buying Kerrang! Magazine, and I remember seeing this album being advertised, and it got reviewed, and I remember it being really quite positive. But I was immersing myself in Metallica and 80s thrash at the time, so I was my mind was elsewhere.
Yeah.
I didn't follow the trajectory that many of my peers went down of Scuzz and Kerrang! Plays new metal and pop punk, so that's what I have to like. I was very much a case of, well, I like this Metallica band, and I'm going to check out this thing called thrash. And I kind of camped out back in the day as opposed to what was going on. But looking back,
it's interesting. It's interesting though because you're 20 years younger than me, and it's so weird to think about like when I was growing up. I very much, at least 50% of the time, followed like the new music that was coming out and loved it, and I found other stuff. I guess even more than that. Most of it was newer stuff that was coming out. It wasn't always just what was on MTV, but it was all contemporary music that I was getting into. And the only time I would kind of go backwards was when there was a contemporary album and I liked it a lot, so I wanted to listen to the band's catalog before that. Now, I remember like in the early 2000s, I've talked about this a lot, but I was very lost musically because nothing was giving me the same feeling that I had in like my teenage years, musically speaking. And I was just like, it's got to be out there somewhere. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I remember that I did an experiment, and this had to have been 2002 or 2003, somewhere around there. I remember I went, you know what? I'm going to go watch MTV, which at that point, if you were trying to watch where the majority of the music videos were, it was MTV2. But they still played new stuff on MTV2. So I was like, I'm going to go watch MTV2, and I'm going to look at like what the new like rock music and other stuff is, and I'm going to go buy those albums, and I'm going to listen to these albums, and I'm going to like, maybe that's what I need. Maybe I just need to get into what's going on and what's popular right now. And I remember I went and I bought there was a fucking it's not Fall Out Boy. What's the name of that fucking band? Taking Back Sunday. I bought a Taking Back Sunday album. I bought, there was a few, and I'm trying to remember what all they were now. It wasn't all just emo stuff. But I bought the most recent at the time Weezer album because I had used to like Weezer, but I was like, oh, I'm going to get this. But these were all things that were on, and I remember I went and I just bought these albums just knowing a song I saw on TV and went, you know what? I don't love these songs, but I'm going to get into this. And I remember it being one of the biggest failures of an experiment of my life, where like I was just like, none of this music, like there was like 4 or 5 different albums that I went and bought. And I just remember like really like being like, let's try this out. This will be a fun experiment. And literally I think a couple weeks later, I just went and sold those CDs at a used CD store because I'm just like, they did nothing for me. But
really,
so so I'm all like, is it me? Is it the music that was coming out? Like, what is it? Because if I had gone and bought 5 albums in 1991, they probably would all have been bangers and things that really, did it for me,
It's weird, isn't it? These eras and the different things that are considered cool.
Yes.
In them, because I don't know what happened in the 2000s. It seemed like nu metal happened, and then because nu metal was so overtly aggressive, being aggressive suddenly became uncool. So
yeah,
I don't know. There was this wave of just lighter rock that I just never connected with me.
But even with me, like I think that my problem was that I probably should have been seeking out more aggressive stuff, but I had just going into my 20s, I had come out of a friend group that had all decided that metal and all that stuff was bad. And I was just like, well, clearly they've decided that this is bad. Like, so what am I supposed to be listening to? That's why I say like Mastodon was a big deal. Because once I got into them, I'm like, why am I not listening to this shit? And so it's like, that was like, that was getting me back on track again with like actually finding music that was important to me. It still does nothing. I mean, there's been so much great music that's come out in this century, but we've talked about it before. None of it holds a candle to even some of the lesser albums that came out in the early 90s. Like it's a special time. Anyway,
to say I am obsessed with that time period, and I think what makes that time period so fascinating as well is that barring grunge, it's actually a fairly unreported on era these days, because like people nowadays when they think of the 90s, they're thinking of nu metal, they're thinking of the late 90s. Very often when people talking about 90s metal, they're talking about the end of the 90s. They're not talking about the early period.
Exactly. I literally saw I guess it was on TikTok, but anyway, it was a post where somebody's posting like, you're from the 90s when you had these things, and literally everything was like Backstreet Boys, and I'm just like, 90s? I mean, I realized that Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, if you were born in 1990, then yeah, you probably would have.
But it's it's like I understand that like Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys and all those things started in the late 90s, but that's not
Y2K for me.
That's early 2000s. Like that's like. So like you're right, that especially the early 90s are completely glossed over unless you're talking about grunge. It's like grunge and then boy bands, and it's like calling Def Leppard a 70s band. It's like, who are you trying to fool? Well, That's so it's interesting that you think about that you brought it up, because it's like you're right. In fact, like it's good that we're here because we can.
And it ties back to that groupthink mentality, and I know I noticed a comment that mentioned that we talk about groupthink mentalities a lot.
Yes,
but here's one that I think is completely.
Here we go again.
Here we go again with our opinion. All right, here we go. So here's my take. I think that alternative metal, like hard alternative stuff, is sorely underreported on because it gets overshadowed by the hair metal and the grunge thing.
Yes.
However, I think a thing that bridged those two worlds is it's an entirely other scene. But like nowadays, when people think of alternative metal, they think Tool or Deftones.
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. But if you look at like the transition point, you had Living Color, King's X, Saigon Kick. Saigon Kick, I've been listening to a shitload of Saigon Kick recently.
Yeah.
They have to be the most unfairly categorized band in history, because they were fully marketed as a hair metal band when that is the thing at the time they have the least in common with. Like, you listen to like one or two tracks on the first album you could probably find on a Skid Row album at the time.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they were blending these worlds of like the Alice in Chainses and the Jane's Addictions into this sound.
Sure.
Albeit they had the big rock production, but everybody had that production. You listen to Facelift.
Yeah.
Facelift has a splashy snare drum on it. And that's considered like the first grunge album to go gold.
Yeah.
So
I think that Saigon Kick did three. They made three mistakes. Number one, they had long hair. Number two, they were very good looking.
Yeah.
Number three, they had a ballad that became a hit.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things they can't. It's not their fault that they're good looking men, but I think that because you see like the first Saigon Kick video, which is I think the What You Do. Or What You Say. What is that? There's two songs on that fucking album.
Right back to back.
What you say, what you do. But the song really did. You saw them like, well, they have long hair. They're playing rock music. They're good looking dudes. They might as well be Whitesnake, you know? But once again, Whitesnake gets unfairly put into that category as well. But David Coverdale leaned into that.
Yeah,
Big time.
David Coverdale thrived in that era, man.
Yeah.
Like he was a sexy motherfucker. That guy was the James Bond of the hard rock world. You know,
Yeah.
he had a posh British accent. He was good looking, and you know, he made constant sexual innuendos. Mm-hmm. So you know, if we were ever going to get like, if I could go back in time and pitch something, I would pitch a Naked Gun style James Bond parody with a fully glammed up David Coverdale as an MI6 agent.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That would be incredible. And I think he would have sold it in the performance. I think David Coverdale as you know, Bames Nond or something like that, you know.
What about this? What if we can make that movie now, but what we do, David Coverdale, come here for a second. This is my pitch. It's almost like the original Austin Powers movie, only David Coverdale is now, he's a 60-year-old, 70-year-old man, whatever, but he's still a very put together and good looking dude.
Yeah.
He travels back in time to the 1980s.
Dude.
Because his music career is now over and he's become a double agent or some shit like that. And he ends up traveling back to the 80s, which is a time he knows very well, in order to solve some sort of crime that happened then that leads to something now. I'd say don't even make it a parody. I'd say make it a straight-faced, time-traveled secret agent movie. But it goes, he has to go and infiltrate his old scene back in the Sunset Strip in like 1987. And David Coverdale, I think he could act. I don't know if he was ever in anything as like an actor, but I think that he could do it.
I feel like he's so theatrical, he's got to be a thespian, dude.
Also, David Coverdale's people, if you're listening, send this to David Coverdale. And I mean, I don't know who would make that movie, but you know, it would be. I'd definitely go see that if that was a movie that came out. I'd be like, "Fuck, who thought of this?" These guys on this show called Cranked and Ranked thought of it. Cool. Well, then maybe after that, I can get my Last Action Hero sequel off the ground. Jeez.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Anyway, where were we?
It's classic Cranked and Ranked. We ended up talking about Whitesnake on the Deftones episode.
Which eventually we're going to be doing Whitesnake fairly soon.
Yes. I'm amazed we haven't done Whitesnake yet. But ding. So where were we? Yeah, Diamond Eyes.
Yep.
It's great. And in my opinion, having listened to it, it's one of the best metal albums of 2010. it's got to be in the running.
Yeah. Have we done 2010 yet in a rank?
We haven't done 2010. We've only done 2015 from the 2010s. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, one day we'll get there, and maybe you'll see this album come back. I guess let's move on. My number 4. My number 4 is Adrenaline from 1995.
That's my number 3.
Cool debut album. Like I said before, like I saw the video for 7 Words, and I got the album, and I thought it was okay. Had some things on it that I liked. It's grown on me over the years. The song "Bored" is a fucking early nu metal like classic at this point. Interesting fun fact that I didn't know. I don't know if you knew or not, but the label that they were on for several albums was run by Madonna. In fact, Madonna signed them. Like that was like Maverick Records is what, I don't know if that record label still exists. I don't think it does. But she signed, there was a lot of bands signed, the rock bands signed to Maverick, and she signed Deftones. And Adrenaline is good. It gets a little bit too samey with some of the songs, but my biggest gripe of this album, and I'll never be able to get over it, is what the fuck is going on with the guitar sound in this album. It literally sounds, and if you go listen to it again, it sounds like they went into the studio, Stefan gets into a booth to record the guitar. They shut the door and they lock it, and they put the microphone outside the door.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is how we're recording the guitar. And he's like, but the amp's in here. And they're like, nope, this is the sound that we want. We want inside closet door closed. And I'm just like, why? Because there's so much great guitar on that album. And if with a little bit better production, it would have been fucking amazing, because the rest of the album I think sounds pretty fucking good, but the guitar sound, I'm just like, who decided on that? Because it really takes away from the album. And anyway, this album's grown on me. Like I said, some of it's kind of a blur, but it's early nu metal. Like all of the nu metal albums that came out around 94, 95, or the things that were adjacent to that, even the ones that I don't really like as much, there's something about that time period where that shit was new that I'm just like, this is so much fun. This is like when, you had your friends at school. Like I had friends at school that they were the people that were the early adopters of Korn and stuff like that, and they were the ones that had the different colored hair and were all wearing, like, it was almost like a metal goth is what they became. But they were all into like the first Marilyn Manson album when it came out, and obviously they were big fans of also like Nine Inch Nails and Ministry and stuff like that. But they all were the ones that were the ones, saying, you got to listen to this Korn shit and stuff like that. So I knew a lot of those people, and they were right about a lot of those albums, because they're fucking great. So Adrenaline, like to me, it's not an amazing album, but it's got enough going for it where I'm just like, yeah, I can't put this any lower than 4, because I feel like it stands up as one of the important albums of that early nu metal sound, where it was really kind of coming together. And so yeah, my number 4 is Adrenaline. Your number 3 is Adrenaline.
Yes. So I do have a thing for early versions of a band that go on to become fucking massive.
Yeah.
And I love hearing a band in its hungry, embryonic phase where it's just like, we're just starting out. This is the rawest version of Deftones ever put to tape. You know? You're not going to get rawer than the Deftones debut when it comes to Deftones. And it's a cool time period in general, because they're in the mid-90s, there is arguably the greatest changing of the guard change ever sonically, and that is due in large part to the sudden shift to the emphasis being on low end. and all of a sudden there's these bands and they're coming out and they all of a sudden you got like drop C, drop B bands coming out, and this 7-string guitars with Korn and stuff like that, and the Ross Robinson thing.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, hell, Terry Date and Ross Robinson were involved in Adrenalize. And you can really hear...
Adrenaline.
Sorry, not Adrenalize, Adrenaline. My bad.
Adrenalize is Def Leppard.
Oh, so I keep fucking bringing Def Leppard back up.
Do you want to get rocked? Let's get. Okay.
Can you imagine if Deftones and Def Leppard did a collab?
Why haven't they toured together? Like that's I guess because like we're the only people that would think that was a cool collaboration.
Yeah. They signed a deal with Def Jam, and it's like Def Jam presents Def Leppard and Deftones.
That would be amazing. And then the opener can be Most Def, although he doesn't go by Most Def anymore. Never mind, he can't be part of it. Sorry,
it's okay. For the sake of this, he's reviving it.
He's reverting his name back to Most Def just for this this tour. Anyway,
yeah, and what is it? And they would collab, and they would do a medley of Adrenaline and Adrenalize. Together.
Yeah.
And it's just one 40-minute opus where they're just trading between songs. But
that would be
the trade-off is Joe Elliott sings the Deftones songs. And Chino sings the Def Leppard songs. Do you want to get rocked?
You know what? I feel like Chino would enjoy some of that.
Yeah,
and you know what? I think Joe would enjoy. I think it would be fun for both of them.
Black Tchaikovsky violins.
I think that. I feel like they're both probably fans of each other's bands. God, that would be so. Those are the kind of tours that I really want to happen. Just like that's why, like, as much as like I can talk shit about certain bands. That whole family values tour thing, where literally like you had like I guess some of the bands had similarities, but if you think about it, if you have like Ice Cube and Orgy and Rammstein and Limp Bizkit and Korn, like there's something about that like you shouldn't work, but then it totally does work. And I want to see more tours like that where it's just like these bands don't really fit together but also do in some sort of way.
What was that festival that time where like Slayer played the same day as Gucci Mane?
Oh, who knows? Slayer's a big enough band that could easily happen at some point.
Here is Slayer and Gucci Mane were booked together for the Secret Solstice 2018 festival in Iceland. This is one of the wildest tour posters, one of the event posters I've ever seen. So like, Slayer is at the top, and right beneath them is Stormzy and Gucci Mane. And right under that is Bonnie Tyler. Like, what a fucking...
Bonnie Tyler?
What a fucking show that would have been, dude.
That's definitely... I know for a fucking fact that they tried to get Bjork and it didn't work out. Because why is Bjork not the headliner of that show? It's in Iceland. Anyway.
Yeah, I high-key think that Bjork singing Deftones would fucking work.
Oh, Bjork singing anything. Put Bjork on our list. Why we need... That would be such a fascinating discography to look at.
Didn't she do an album with Mike Patton at one point? Or at least a collaboration.
What remember.
Happened? Bjork, Mike Patton. Medulla. Medulla is the 5th studio album by Bjork. Where is Patton? Where does Patton appear on this? It said it in the...
Maybe he's on some of the tracks, one of the tracks.
Additionally, Bjork wanted a little bit of rock on Medulla, so she invited singer Mike Patton of Faith No More.
Interesting.
Cool.
See, there's a connection there, but I like me some Bjork. But that's one I haven't gotten really into. I haven't but every song I hear, I'm like, this is great. And she's like, there's something about somebody who seems like a total weirdo, but then can really fucking sing and is really talented. That just like makes me happy that they exist.
You ever seen that video of her just like taking a TV apart?
No.
It's fucking incredible. It's her in the 90s taking apart this huge CRT just to like figure out how it works, and she's just so fascinated and enamored by it that I can't like look away.
Yeah.
So this is my television set, and we're going to take it apart, and I'm going to look at all the inner workings of the TV. I find it's very fascinating TV. It's just a really cool thing to see, just someone utterly enamored with an object.
Join us for the Deftones ranking where we talk about Whitesnake and Bjork.
And the white snake. And I throw them off a cliff. Sorry. That's a Nakey Jakey reference there. Oh. Anyway, he does a good Bjork impression. Anyway, back to where we were at. Where are we?
Adrenaline.
Not adrenalize.
Not adrenalize.
Yeah, it's cool. I get where you're coming from with the guitar. It is a strange guitar tone.
Sorry about that.
You've got so many different vocal styles now coming in. It's like an experimental album at this point. Yeah, it's cool. It's their Kill 'Em All. It's the rawest version of this band. Mm-hmm. There's cool things, and there's some really cool vocal moments from Chino where he just belts sometimes. Yeah. And you hear it without the additional, layers and stuff that you would get on later albums. And it's just, he can just do that. He can just belt a note. We're under no illusions that he's a very good vocalist and with a high range. Yeah. But he like you said, he has this way of like steering the song either in a direction that you're completely down with or makes a strange decision every once in a while. But on this album, I think it's a really good thing that this album highlights is just raw vocal talent. Yeah. Because there's not really a lot added to this album. It's pretty dry by comparison. Yes. So yeah, it just stands as this this is Deftones without the additional production added. This is just the guys in a room. It feels like them playing together in a room where the guitar player is in another room,
locked in the closet. Yeah. He's trapped in the closet with R. Kelly. Yeah. Doing this
with a midget.
The man was a midget. That's the way the song ends.
I know. I forgot there was a fucking delay.
The end of every single track of "Trapped in a Closet" ends with an echo.
I love ever since I love the fact though that all of the R. Kelly stuff hasn't managed to ruin the Weird Al Yankovic "Trapped in a Drive-Thru."
Oh yeah.
I love that one. Yeah. If anything, everybody's turning around now and saying that is the definitive version because, R. Kelly. Did you ever hear that fucking album R. Kelly put out while he was in jail?
No.
There's one line where it's like, how can they call me a pedophile? It's like, bro, just don't even fucking... Jesus Christ.
I mean, I guess he has every right to still do. What recording studio is in prison? Like, how does he make? Did he do it like Old Dirty Bastard? He did it over the phone. He did all the lyrics over the phone. Anyway, you done with Adrenaline?
Yeah. My voice cracked there. Holy shit. Would you like fries with that?
Happy to say we have the same top two because my number 3 is Diamond Eyes from 2010. Cool. I've mentioned it before. Album came out. I was very into it. It doesn't hurt that the lead single from it was Rocket Skates. And I just remember being like, this is a fucking banger, dude.
Yeah.
And so I got the album because of that. I thought it was very strong. You've seen The Butchers, like probably the sexiest song they ever wrote. Really great. 976 Evil, which is not about the movie. 976 Evil. At least I don't think so. Is also a fucking great song. I just watched the sequel to 976 Evil, 976 Evil 2. And both of those movies are fucking weird as shit. The first movie was directed by Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger. But that's definitely of its time, because 976 numbers do not exist anymore.
Yeah.
And but 976 Evil
Sexy numbers.
In the movies, you'd call 976 Evil and press 666 to hear your horror scope.
Damn.
And then it's like there's a lot of like astral projection type shit, and that's an easy way for me to just completely misunderstand movies, because I'm just like, what? Why are we? What is happening? And so that's how I am during both those movies. I love them, but both movies I was just like, why? But if you have to ask why, then it's not a movie for you. Diamond Eyes is packed with great songs. It's the first album they did with Sergio on bass, who was in the band Quicksand.
Yeah.
And production on Diamond Eyes is great. Who produced Diamond Eyes? Because it sounds really, really... Oh, Nick Raskulinez, who worked with like all sorts of people. I think he did Mastodon, he did Rush, he did... I think he may have done Queens of the Stone Age. He did a lot of fucking big albums. Foo Fighters.
Damn.
So yeah,
Alice in Chains.
He worked with Alice in Chains as well. So yeah, he's done a lot of shit. He makes things sound pretty nice. But Diamond Eyes was another one. It was another peak in my relationship with Deftones, where all of a sudden I came from being like, I can take or leave Deftones, and then I was like, oh, this album's real good, and then it came back down to where it was another valley, and I was just like, all right, Deftones are fine. But Diamond Eyes is a very big like peak for me, where I just like, God, this album is just so cool, and every song's really good. But it doesn't even come close to my top two. I think the top two are two pretty almost perfect albums, I would say. But let's see if we match up on our top two of Deftones.
Okay. My number two is Around the Fur.
Mine too. We matched up.
Hey,
Around the Fur, number two.
What?
Okay. Dude, I love these sound bites, man. I love them. So let's have a little look here. Around the Fur is kind of known as like their new metal album. Like, you know, if you were going to point to any Deftones album for being the new metal album, I mean, is one of the most iconic things about this album is that like very first part of My Own Summer, and that drum sound is so of that time now, like that really high tuned piccolo snare, the really small snare drum, just cranked all the way up so that they cut through the guitars and stuff like that. I love that sound. I've really come around to it. You know me. I'm the 80s big hair snare guy. Yeah. But even I can appreciate, a good ping on a snare on a new metal song, or especially in Helmet. I don't think Helmet use a piccolo snare. I think he just tunes his snare all the way fucking up, right? Or does he? Does John Stanier?
I honestly don't know. I don't know enough about drums to really know what the difference is between tuning your drum up and using a piccolo snare.
So does John is it Stanier or Stanier?
Stanier. John Stanier.
John Stanier snare. Does of course he does. I can't believe I just typed that. Does John Stanier snare? Of course he does. He's a fucking drummer. Let's have a look. Does he use? Sorry, guys. I'm getting really nerdy.
That's okay. I'm getting nerdy over here with something I'm wanting to bring up, but I'm trying to confirm my sources over here.
Okay, here we go. So John Stania, best known for his work with Helmet and Battles, is widely recognized for his unique snare sound, often described as a cranked or piccolo-like tone, particularly on iconic albums such as Meantime and Strap It On. The cranked sound, rather than using a shallow piccolo drum, Stania achieved his signature high-pitched piercing snare sound by tuning a standard depth metal snare drum extremely hie. So he's cranking that thing all the way up, like to the point of, yeah. I like my snare like I like my pussy. Tight.
Hold on a second.
The one that sticks out in my mind, what's the Helmet track from, I mean, I know he's hitting like a chime at the same time, but what's that Helmet song from the Judgment Night?
Just Another Victim.
Ping! I love that.
Just another victim, kid.
Yeah. Either do a fucking big snare or a ping snare. There is no in between. Don't bore me with your snare sound. Go for extremes, everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, I'm getting hung up on the sound of a fucking snare. Let's talk about the rest of the album.
Yes.
It's great. I mean, it's got My Own Summer. Shove it. Be Quiet and Drive. Far away. I mean, it's been a while since I've gotten to do that, since I've stopped doing the track by tracks, but they really landed on something special with this album. What's going on? Are you doing like a little proof listen?
I'm confirming my what song I need to talk about.
Okay.
Sorry.
So this album, really, really cool. It is definitely a time capsule. It's got all the hallmarks of nu metal, but it also has more to it than just that. This isn't $3 Bill, y'all. This isn't Korn. This isn't even Roots by Sepultura. This is its own thing.
Yeah.
Even at this point, there is a level of atmosphere being worked on as opposed to just like braggadocious groove.
Yeah. And like everything about this album when it was new was like nothing sounds like this.
Yeah.
Like it was like they really stepped up and stood out of all these other bands all of a sudden because nobody did an album that sounded like this. Anyway, what I was trying to confirm, and I brought this up before, maybe on this other band's ranking that we did, but the song My Own Summer, Shove It, has a riff in it. The main riff of the song, which is the Around the Fur, comes out in October 1997. In February of 1997, almost a full year before, the album Freak Show by Silverchair comes out. There's a song called No Association. That song goes like it's literally the same fucking rhythm. That's not the exact notes, but it's the exact same fucking rhythm with the same accents and
same pattern.
Same pattern. And I'm like, it's too close. It is too close.
Yeah.
Everything about it, you could literally lay the riffs on top of each other, and they're different notes, but they're played exactly the same. And I was like, did somebody in the band hear that song? And then it just came to them that, because I'm not accusing them of ripping anybody off, because as I've said many times, if you're a songwriter, you know that there are those times in your life you've sat down and written something, you've been like, this is fucking great, not realizing that somebody else's music was formulating it in your head, and somebody has to point it out and go, you literally just took this song and just wrote it again. You don't always know that you're doing that, because that's not how your brain works. So it could very well be they heard the song, this was written, there's no connection. Or they said, who the fuck's listening to Silverchair anymore? And they literally just lifted the pattern of that riff because it's too close. It is too fucking close for me to not call it out. That being said, both are great songs. I don't know which one I like more. My Own Summer is more iconic than No Association. I think that's the right one anyway. So I just thought I'd bring that up because I always like pointing out little things like that because I'm like, because people like to bring up songs sounding like other songs, and usually it's a very thin connection where I'm just like, if you're going to point out song A sounding like song B, then you have to point out 500 other songs that sound like both of those songs. But I just thought it was interesting because the Silverchair album came out first, and that Silverchair album also has a song that is clearly ripping off a Mad Season song, but the Mad Season album came out a couple years before. So it's almost like the Daniel Johns and Silverchair were like riding this middle ground where they're like, hey, we're lifting some stuff, but we're also influencing some people like the Deftones.
We gotta stop this cycle, man. Songwriting only begets songwriting, my guy. We gotta stop.
You know,
I don't know what character that was.
Yeah, I don't know. I was doing like a violence is never the answer, but it's just songwriting. It's like,
Peace, love, and harmony, brother.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day,
Stop writing songs.
at the end of the day, if you, I think as a songwriter, you can hear when it's like, oh, this was just an inspiration, or it's just, it's easy to come across this same sort of combination and make it sound similar. I mean, because I think a really great example for me is always that Tom Petty, like people were, getting, I think, was it Sam Smith who did a song that clearly is just ripping off "I Won't Back Down" by Tom Petty, and and Tom Petty was just like, who the fuck cares? I'm pretty sure I took that from somebody else. It's like that the shit just happens, and I think that's how people need to be. Like it's for the like there's a different. It's different when it's egregious. I guess that's the right word. I'm not very smart, so sometimes I use words and I go,
no,
did I use that right? Yeah. And then there's other times where you're just like, there's nothing nefarious going on. Ooh, 2 words in a row, egregious and nefarious. I feel like my brain like opened up. My third eye opened up or some shit. Anyway, Around the First, fantastic. Like I said, it really brought, like I all of a sudden was like, oh, this is Deftones? I'm into this. A really big progression from the first album. Of course, like Be Quiet and Drive's an amazing song. But there are just little choices in the songs. Sometimes it's guitar work, sometimes it's vocally, sometimes it's additional things in the songs. But I feel like almost every single song has a choice that's made in it where I go, they really were like, let's not do what is expected of us, and let's make the best thing that we can make while being true to what we want to do. Honestly, I would say in my opinion, the weakest track on the album is Head Up, which has Max Cavalera on it. I still really like that song, but if I had to pick a low point, that song's kind of just okay. But it ends up, that song came out before Soulfly was announced as a band. And then all of a sudden Max Cavalera starts Soulfly. And so anyway, which he says Soulfly in the song, guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's Chino making noises that aren't really actually words in the chorus. That's another thing. Like why? Like if you try to look up the lyrics to that part of the song, I want to know, like, Chino, you actually saying something and you just didn't print it, or are you literally just going blah, 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 blah? Like, are you just doing that? And then Max goes Soulfly, but there's no lyrics to that part.
I'm gonna look it up. What is that? Where is it? Soulfly, fly high.
Yeah,
Soulfly.
there's no lyrics to what Chino is saying, but he's clearly doing vocals. But
Have you ever seen that video of that guy whose like dog is growling and he grabs his snout and he's like, this kind of reminds me of that. I like to think that like Max had Chino by the head. He's like, like into the
Chino's like, I don't want to do anything on the course. You're gonna fucking do it. And he's just
he's just shaking him.
Anyway. But yeah, to me that's like the lowest the album goes, and I still really enjoy that song. But like yeah, I think it's a great album. To me it's like a quintessential '90s alt metal album. I think that it deserves to be up there with like classics, like if you want to talk about like Angel Dust from Faith No More and albums like that.
Oh yeah,
I think Around the Fur deserves to be in the same conversation because it's that unique. While still being an album that new metal fans could be into, but not just doing the same shit that a whole bunch of other bands were all starting to do around the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else you got for Around the Fur?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. Oh wait, I was like, all right, partner. What was that? Was it this one? It's not that one.
God damn it, baby,
it's not that one.
I'm gonna tell you one time.
Is it this
The hair
one?
metal world continues to drag us toward it.
Is it this one?
Like,
All right, partner.
here we go.
Keep on rolling, baby. You know what time it is.
All right.
It's so pleasing to the ear.
Yeah.
I just love hearing that.
So our joint number one is White Pony from the year 2000.
Hell yeah.
I have a lot to say about this album. I want to let you go first, but I have to say something before you start.
Do it.
My number one placement of White Pony does not include the mini maggot back to school song. It does not include that. That is not how the album starts. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck the record label for making them do that. That is not how the album starts. Because I bought the album when it came out. It had a silver cover. Here's my story about that. I bought the fucking album when it came out. Absolutely fucking adored it. I had it in my fucking binder of CDs. One day I go to play it. It has been cracked in half. So I go back to the record store and I go, fuck that. I'm buying another copy of White Pony. And I get there and I go, why is the cover white now? And now there's another song in the beginning of the album. And I remember getting it and putting it on and being like, this song is garbage. Like this, like why did they and I think the story is the label was just like, this album's not doing well. Can you put like a more Deftonesy song with some rapping in it? And Chino's like, yeah, I guess. And they literally just took the chorus from another song that's already on the album, put rap verses on it, and made one of the most, probably the worst Deftones song ever. And to this day, I'm still mad. I'm mad at the record label for fucking ruining it. Luckily, I think I've seen that if you go and try to buy it on vinyl these days, the version that you buy starts with Fetisciera, does not start with Mini Maggot. Because that song starting the album, I can't stress how that song starting the album just made me go, dude, they fucking really fucking stepped it up here. And anyway, so I have to get that out. My White Pony that's at number one does not have Mini Maggot on it. Does not. It's not there. Stop it.
Okay.
No. Okay.
He fucking left the band.
Okay. Now I would like you to go ahead.
Okay. I was unaware of that.
God damn it! I got to get that one now for the soundboard. I was not aware of that.
Dude, we are woefully lacking on Wayne's World stuff. We got to get the Wayne's World sound bites in there.
Yeah, I got to figure out which ones I want, because there's some that I know for sure in my head that I want to get, but I need to do I was not aware of that.
Yeah, you got to make sure that they are like applicable to like every conversation possible.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. White Pony.
Okay. Yeah. White Pony here. I mean, they came out in '95 with a pretty new sounding thing already. It was like, wow, what the fuck? This is 1995, and you know, just 2 years ago, Aerosmith was topping the charts, and now we have this. There's a crazy amount of change happened in the first half of the 90s. So at this point, after that kind of 94 Korn comes out, Changing of the Guard thing I talked about earlier, there's this a wave of bands now that just like the mid 90s are the point where I believe modern metal as it is now is in its embryonic phase.
Yeah.
And like there's pre 94 95 and there's post 94 95.
Yeah, and I think that period was informed in my brain. There's like two particular bands from the early 90s that kind of led to this, and I think it's Pantera and Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
And I think there was a thing that happened where that started to infect a lot of what became modern metal. I'm sure you could probably name a few other bands from early 90s too, but those two in particular, I'm all like, I just hear that shit in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Fear Factory as well, I would say.
Fear Factory,
are another band that do that.
But even then, Fear Factory's first album was what, like 93 or something like that? It was
92.
92, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But to be honest, at that point, they were just being a very tight grindcore band.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't until like Demanufacturing 95 that the Fear Factory sound was in place. But like this period of metal is so interesting because you can hear the embryo of everything that followed it, you know. But when you reach 2000, good old Y2K, Deftones, already a mature version of the new metal thing, have matured to a point where Deftones are just Deftones now. You know, they are doing exactly what they were put here to do with this album. And it's a mixture of alternative metal, you know, new metal, the post-rocky, shoegazy stuff in there as well. There's a real arty side to it. I mean, it was a pleasant surprise, but I was not surprised, to be honest, when Maynard James Keenan showed up, because I was like, of course Maynard would be involved in something like this, because this album to me just feels like a cut above, or like everything else happening at the time. It's like, oh no, they were cooking here. This is the opus. This is everything coming together to be this the magnum opus of Deftones. There's just no, I mean, it's just perfect from start to finish for exactly what they were going for. And whether or not they even realized it at the time, they were just on fire here. Like, you know, you feel free to jump in and elaborate. I mean, this really is an era that I've really come back around to in recent years. Like for a long time, I'd kind of gone off new metal because I was so overexposed to it. But having since done this show, I've really come back around to this era of music.
The year 2000 was it was for especially for like major label music, it was very weird because it was at that point that a lot of producers and engineers at that point had now like mastered like Pro Tools, and so you were getting a lot of the bigger rock albums were now all being infected with a bunch of like, for lack of a better term, digital sounds. And so you had a lot of bands that had these big productions, and they all had like it's hard to explain, but like like electronic drum things and studio trickery was just like all over the place because it was super easy to do. And a lot of that music was kind of just boring. And because at 2000, if I remember right, that was around the time that you really started. You were hearing so much of what would later be referred to as dad rock coming out. So early Nickelback, early those bands, were late 90s too. But like, I feel like they all came to like popularity around 2000, and it was pretty boring overall for the music scene. And White Pony coming out really was just kind of like, just sort of yeah. There's a couple albums from around the time that I remember being out that were kind of, the exciting things going on, but the exciting things were few and far between around that time. And White Pony was like my favorite album that had come out around that time. Like I was so obsessed with it. They came through Austin, and I went to go see them, and the opener for them was Glassjaw. I don't know if anybody else played before them, but a couple of my friends and we were so into what they were doing at that point that we literally went to their next show in San Antonio. We went to go see them twice, which at that point they played with Incubus, which was kind of an interesting show. Needless to say, like the album really like affected me because I was like, that's kind of where I didn't know that that's where I was musically, but White Pony is where I was musically, where I still couldn't quite wrap my head around the fact that I still wanted to rock. And I felt like I'm not supposed to admit that I want to rock. But at the same time, I want things that are going to challenge me and are going to push things forward in ways where it's like, this song goes in a direction I don't expect. This song has a sound I don't expect. This song that follows the one previously goes in a direction I didn't expect. And that's what White Pony was overall for me, where I was like, everything about it just seemed like a band that had a lot of great ideas, and they all just came together perfectly. Where now I feel like at this point you can't call them a nu metal band anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that the album was unsuccessful at first. I found that out later because I was just like, what do you mean? Doesn't everybody fucking love this album? But like this one in particular, like, songs like Digital Bath and Knife Party, Change in the House of Flies, just so well done at creating the mood they're trying to make. And those three songs that I listed are three very different songs. And on top of that, like Chino's delivery in this album, like the way he approaches the vocals, I'm just like, this is so great. Because it reminded me a little bit of like, maybe like Mike Patton would have done similar stuff on some of the songs, but it didn't feel to me like he was like ripping him off or anything. It was just that same kind of vocal approach where I go, he's not going to approach this the same way that 50 other singers are going to approach this.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. I would say when the weakest song on your album, in my opinion, when the weakest song on your album has Maynard James Keenan on it, you've made an incredible album. Because Passenger is the weakest song on this album. Still a fucking great song.
Yeah.
But it's still great. But yeah, that's like that's the only point in the album where I go, this song's good. It doesn't blow me away. Rest of the album blows me away. But the way that I'm talking about this album, you can see why later Deftones albums were underwhelming to me, because this one just went, didn't expect this from this band. Just everything about it, I was just like, this is just absolutely perfectly done for giving me the rock, but also giving me something where I'm just like, this is taking me on a different direction, and I'm really enjoying this. And so that's why it's my number one. Fantastic album. Terry Date, fantastic production job on it. fuck Maverick Records for making them go back and let me pull up that song and see if there's on the wiki it actually goes into why they added Mini Maggot to the song.
Let me have a look.
Back to School, Mini Maggot. It's a song by American alternative metal band Deftones. It is an altered version of the song Pink Maggot from the band's third studio album, White Pony. Shortly after the album's initial release, in a contentious move by the band's Maverick Records, it was re-released with Back to School, Mini Maggot added on. Vocalist Chino Moreno has said, the album right here is not the album that we turned into the label, the White Pony re-release. As far as we're concerned, the first edition was done. Then they talked us into re-releasing it with another song on it, and it's not like I'm against the song or whatever, but I like the sequence we had when we first turned it in. When this version came out, a little part inside all of us felt like, fuck, we just totally compromised, and I know a lot of our fans felt bad about it too. We did, Chino, we did. The band also specifically regretted the presence of Back to School on the re-release of the album. As Moreno stated in an interview with German rock magazine Visions, Back to School was a mistake, a calculated song that had been built up with only one aim in mind: it should be a single. Back to School was released because I was an idiot. I wanted to prove something to the record company. Months later, after White Pony was released, they wanted us to do a new version of Pink Maggot. They said we lost our heaviness, and there were no more singles on the album. First, I wanted to stick this idea up my ass, but then I thought, I'm going to show those fuckers how easy it is to create a hit single. And so I rapped a hip-hop part on that song, we shortened it, and half an hour later, the hit single was ready to roll. So he cherry-pied it, essentially.
Yeah. I will say, like, he managed to... He did prove a point, and the album stood the test of time. And I think, to be honest, nowadays, with the advent of streaming and things like that, you can kind of just go and make the original version of the album again, where you can just go in and you can take it off, or you can put it at the end. But like, you know, at the end of the day, I get both sides of the story. You know, if I was in that position, like, what would I have done? But at the same time, it was a win-win, because not only did it sell more, this album fucking rules and is revered, and they've gone on to be one of the most influential bands of metal, full stop. And you know, at the end of the day, you know, he may feel like an idiot, but at the same time, he doesn't have to care about that. He won. He's the singer of Deftones.
I agree. But yeah, I cannot explain to you how annoyed I was.
Oh, for sure. I get it at the time.
And hearing that new song and how really bad it was.
Yeah. And that feeling is entirely valid. You know? It's like the re-release of Dirt. I'm pissed off that Down in a Hole is track 4.
Yeah.
Track 4 is not Down in a Hole. Down in a Hole's near the end.
Yeah.
Is track 4.
That doesn't bother me as much, but that album flows in a way that Down in a Hole does not feel like it's supposed to go forth. I have read that Alice in Chains apparently wanted it that way. They said, this is where we want this song to go.
They were following the track 4 ballad rule.
Maybe they were, but either way, like, it's like if an album really like affects you and connects with you, and then they alter the album, it's like if I had heard Nevermind by Nirvana, and then all of a sudden they just put an extra song at the beginning that was like the weakest song on the album. You know, it's like, don't fuck with this. Like,
I will say, putting a song at the front of the album afterwards.
Oh, you're trying to make a case for Easy by Faith No More. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
I am. I think had they re-released it, that should have been a bonus track at the end of the album.
100%. Then I would be less annoyed at it.
Yeah.
Because they do that all the time now. They re-release a fucking album with bonus tracks on it at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, but like so that's my take on the matter. Would I, at this point, having discovered Angel Dust in the state I did,
Yeah.
want that version of Easy off it? Because that's not the single version of Easy. That's
Yeah.
a different. The one on Angel Dust is a different, more stripped back version,
Yeah.
and I always like it as like an after dinner mint.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
However, if you go in and you open an album that's already great with a song that didn't even need to be there,
Yeah.
that's an entirely different story. Get it the fuck out of the way.
And I feel like because I don't know the history of Maverick Records, but I feel like Maverick Records might have been struggling, and Deftones was like one of their, more popular artists, and they were probably just like, your album's not doing well. We need more money.
Well, it says here it was founded in '92 and it was defunct in 2009.
Oh, okay. But I mean,
So-
if at that point it's like, obviously Madonna's on Maverick Records, or she was, I would think. Yeah. So I mean, it's like, it's one of those things where I think if it's the first way that you hear White Pony, then maybe it doesn't annoy you as much as it annoys me. But you would have to admit that that's like the weakest thing on the album. Like it really does not start it off on a good note. Plus, like, I always love the way that that fucking song that I can never pronounce the name correctly. Fetisseria. So fuck, I don't know. I'm not, whatever. But the way that song starts, starting off the album with that, I just remember the first time hearing it, I just like I had to stop because I had to be like, first off, like, what's that riff? Like, what? Just the way that it starts is so like not what you're expecting, and it's just so cool. Anyway. So yeah. Anyway, that's my number one. Do you have anything else to say about White Pony?
It's great.
Fantastic. And after we finish a ranking, we celebrate like this.
Nice.
Yeah, we did it. Deftones. As usual, if you want to chime in on what you thought, you can comment or email or do whatever the fuck you want. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I don't even know what's happening next. What's happening next in the world of Cranked and Ranked? Where are we going? Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? Let's have a little look. Cranked and Ranked, Deftones. No, that's what I was just on. Mm-hmm. Let's have a little look here. 1983. So we're finally covering the year of the birth of thrash. Oh, damn.
Would you say 1983?
Well, you've got Kill 'Em All comes out. I mean, I know, like, thrash.
Well, no,
bands
I was looking at something, so I'm like, is that what we're doing next? 1983 top 10?
It says here it's our top 10 albums in 1983,
Nice.
followed by the 30th anniversary of Load.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do a special for Load, which I think, let's find out what's the date. What's the date for Load? Sorry guys, this is the behind the curtain part for peanut butter platypuses, aluminium squirrels, Belvedere ball sitters, Christmas dogs, and sir penises.
Hey, he remembered the fifth one.
I did.
We're getting there. We're approaching number 6.
So it came out June 4th, 1996. So
Yes.
So yeah, so one of the ones coming up is going to be a special about the album Load, us sort of highlighting it, because it's I think it's Metallica's our favorite band, and I'm all about like giving some praise to albums that are lesser appreciated by bands, and
Absolutely. I was going to ask, for this Load 30th anniversary, do you want to do a song ranking?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's do it.
So
Let's do everything. Everything Load related. Let's do it.
Nice.
We're also gonna create our own Load album covers where we're gonna jerk off and cut ourselves open and smear it on a canvas, and we're gonna do our own Load album covers. And I encourage you all at home to do the same. And if you're of the female persuasion, I don't know, figure it out. Get your friend's semen to put it on the thing.
Jerk him off.
I'm not saying you have to do that. You could just be like, hey, it's for an art project. Can you put it in this cup? And then you just make your Load album cover. Anyway, next time
that would be so great on a t-shirt. Craig Direct told me to jerk him off. And following Load.
Yes.
We got a big one.
A big load.
We got a big old load. So much it comes twice. We're doing Motorhead.
Oh my God! Yes.
We're doing a two-parter on Motorhead as well. So all the Motorhead fanatics who have been begging for years for a Motorhead episode, you will finally get the Motorhead one.
Motorhead double. Is what we're doing a two-parter? Is that what you were saying?
Yep. We're doing Motorhead 1 and Motorhead 2.
All right.
Sounds good to me, man.
So we've got fun shit coming up. Next time you see us, it will be top 10 albums, top 10 favorite albums, our favorite albums of 1983. And so that will be fascinating. I always love doing those top 10s. How many more years of the 80s do we have left? Is that it?
I think we've got the entire early portion, barring 1982, left. So I think we've done 1989, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We still need to do 3. Mm-hmm. We did 2.
Okay.
Years ago.
Yeah.
So we're left with 83, 80, and 81.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing 83. So
83.
83, isn't it?
Isn't it? I'm doing 83.
All right. All right. Well, then it's been a blast. Thanks everybody for joining us. As usual, you're all amazing and we love you all. And as usual, I'm going to throw it over to Eddie Sparxx to take us out.
Later, dude. Come back next time. We're gonna rank 1983. Later, dude. We are the Old Head and Eddie Sparxx.